Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Dean Rogers. Welcome back to the Dean Rogers Show. Today, I have an incredibly special guest, Mr. Joe McCall. What's up, Joe?
What's up, Dean? How are you?
What's up? Dude, I'm stoked because since I got started in real estate, you have been one of the big names that I have seen and learned from and continue to see you help so many people in the industry get started, grow, scale, all those things. So I'm honored to have you here. I'm excited. I got some butterflies in my stomach. For those of you that don't know Joe, been living under a rock or just getting started, Joe's been investing since 2008, doing deals. You do a lot of house lease options. I know that's how I learned about you, the lease options. Vacant land flips. You got your dirt flipping shirt on there, so we'll definitely talk about that.
Dirt, not houses.
That's right. And you've done a lot of deals while traveling for months at a time around the world with your wife and 4 kids. I'm in the 4-kid club too. So I want to.
Are you in the wife club?
About that. I'm in the wife club. I still have a wife. Yes.
Okay, good. All right.
Still here too. I didn't get rid of her. She's still here. And you've been podcasting on real estate investing since 2011. So that's how I found you. I got started in 2013. And if you guys want to connect with Joe, you guys can find him on Instagram, JVM or JV McCall. JV McCall. We'll have that up on the screen for you guys. Dude, I'm stoked to get in. I'd love to just start with your origin story. You know, how you got started, how you found real estate, and then we've got so many good juicy nuggets to drop value for people. So let's start there.
Well, how did I get started? I had a friend who was doing deals in Kansas City. Read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, told me I should read it. He bought some courses from Russ Whitney at the time. Let me borrow the courses. I devoured them. I bought every book that I could get my hands on, went to eBay, bought a ton of, used real estate investing courses. This was 2006, 2005-ish or so. But I was a professional student for 2 or 3 years, 4 years before I really took any massive action and started doing deals. And I made a lot of mistakes, a lot of stupid mistakes. Bought a bunch of properties with a ton of debt at the height of the market in 2007 and 6 and 7, and lost almost everything when the market crashed. And I guess I could say, I've learned more from my failures in this business than I have I've had more failures than successes, but also I've learned more from my failures than I have from all those courses that I bought. But, you learn by failing forward. Mm-hmm. And that's how anybody that I know that's successful in this business has a similar story, I think. It's just like, and anybody that has only had success and not had failures, then you got to be a little careful taking advice from them because, this business, any business is a game of ups and downs and bounces and rebounds and coming back and, well, that didn't work. But let's try something else here. Right. Mm-hmm. And learning from your failures and learning from the failures of others. And that's how I got my school of hard knocks into this business. I just bulldog determination. Yeah.
I personally haven't met one person yet that I can trust, know, and like that has not had massive failures and continue to. I know my story, the overnight success that I've had over 10 years is riddled with failures and losing, nearly $500,000 and making personal mistakes on deals that I shouldn't have done and rushed into, and simple, avoidable mistakes, but they were, rookie, beginner mistakes. And, it's part of your growth, and, you gotta reflect on those and look at them as lessons, and you do need to learn from them to get better. But almost no path to success is, unscathed without failures and some challenges. So
Well, this is why podcasts are so good, because this is why I love podcasting. You can learn from the mistakes of others, right? And you can avoid those mistakes. So when you hear Dean and me talk about our mistakes and the problems that we've had and the stupid things that we did in the past, you can learn how to avoid them yourself and maybe not have to have them, right? Like, wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't it have been nice if I listened to the people that were teaching me what to do and what not to do? But, to each his own. I love the business. I love real estate. Very profitable way to make money. I think of all the businesses that you can start and get into, there's probably not a better business than wholesaling real estate.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah, it's just great. Whether you're doing wholesaling land or houses or multifamilies or commercial buildings, it's great.
Yeah, man, if I continue to tell the story, if I had realized I could find a way to afford a coach or a mentor when I got started, when I had no money, I would have had the success I've had in 10 years in 5. And I probably would have had multiple X more results and made more money and had more success had I done that in half the time. But because I convinced myself I couldn't afford a coach or mentor to help me guide through those early decisions and accelerate my success, minimize my mistakes, I paid the price with real dollars and paid significantly more money that I didn't have because of the mistakes I had. It's so ironic.
Well, you heard the saying, if you think coaching is expensive, try ignorance, try mistakes, try failures, right? Yeah. Like if you were in LA and you want to get to New York, you could walk there and get there. It'd take you, 6 months,
right,
to walk all the way. You could get in a car and you could drive there, but it's going to cost you a lot of money with gas and fuel and, tires and wear and tear on your car. Or you could get on a plane and get there a lot faster. It's going to cost you more money, but you're going to get there a lot faster. So you're going to pay for it one way or the other. That's the truth.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Well, dude, I'm stoked to dive in here to some juicy nuggets. I like to have our guests drop as much knowledge as possible. So, one of the things that really got me excited and is a great topic to start with is how to find motivated buyers and seller leads with no money. Tell me more. How is that possible?
That's something I've been thinking a lot about because I have a lot of students that I teach how to do real estate, houses and land. And a lot of them have a tight budget. They either have a tight budget or they don't have much, they don't have much money or they don't have much time. And so you can get a lot of leads quickly if you put money into direct mail, into Facebook ads, you hire a team to do cold calling for you. But a lot of people just don't have that, right? So how do you get started? One of the things that I have found to be the most successful things for me, if I were to start all over again from scratch, I think about this all the time. And if I had to start all over again from scratch without any, without much money in a new market, I didn't know anybody, never done deals there before, what would I do? One of the first things I would do is I would start networking. I would start finding everybody that I could who was in the business. So I would start calling landlords. I would start calling property managers. I'd be calling rehabbers, hard money lenders, and just calling them and say, hey, listen, I'm new to the area. I'm looking for deals. Do you have anything? I would get on every wholesaler's list. I would call everybody that I could find that has bought property recently. I'd call all the realtors who have sold investment properties to investors. How do you find them? You just look for the cheap properties that have sold, and only an investor would buy that. And you call those agents up, the listing agents and the buying agents. Google their name and number, call them. And I would start keeping a Rolodex. Do people know, do young generations know what a Rolodex is anymore? Well, this is a pad of paper. Everybody knows what that is. And you can start writing down everybody's names and phone numbers and emails. And I would just ask two questions. I'm looking for deals. Do you have any deals, or are you looking to buy any deals? I just ask everybody I talk to those two questions. Do you have any deals, or are you looking to buy any deals? And eventually you talk to enough people, you're going to find somebody that's got a deal, and you're going to find somebody that wants a deal. And then, you may have to talk to 20 people, 50 people, 100 people. I don't know. But these first few calls, you're just telling, hey, I'm new to the area. I'm looking for deals. Do you have anything? I'm an investor. I buy and sell deals. I'm looking for properties that I can fix and flip, or sometimes I buy properties that I can keep as rentals. Sometimes I just flip the deals and not do anything to them. Can you tell me a little bit about, I see you sold this property recently. Can you tell me a little bit about it? If it's a property manager, you could say, I see you've got some really nice rental properties here. I compliment them. I say, this one looks like a really nice rental. Good job on the pictures. Good job on the rehab. I'm sure you're getting lots of calls from tenants. Is your client, do they have any other rental properties maybe that they're looking to sell? Do you have any other clients that maybe have a property that they're looking to sell? Do you have any clients that are looking to buy any deals? You might not get very far. You're a stranger. Who are you? You say, well, listen, can I send you my name and number so that if you find something in the future, you can send it to me? And so then I get their email address and I just email them a quick little note. Hey, thanks. Good talking to you. If you find anything, let me know. But now what do I have? I have a name, a phone number, and an email. And so I can actually follow up with them every week, every month, every couple weeks. Send them another email, send them a text from your cell phone. Don't try to automate this and make it all fancy and use some third-party CRM or, just use your cell phone and just get out there and start texting people and asking them those two questions. Do you have any deals? Are you looking for any deals? And eventually, I learned this from a guy who was kind of a hermit. He's kind of a local celebrity in the wholesaling arena here in the Midwest, St. Louis area, rather. And I've never met the guy, but I've heard about him. And this is a guy who just likes to play video games in his man cave all day. And once in a while, he comes out every couple months when he needs some money. And he's got a Rolodex of 100 people, 200 people that are players in the area. And he goes through and calls everybody and asks them those two questions. And eventually, by the time he gets to the end, he finds somebody's with a deal and he finds somebody that wants a deal. And he wholesales the deals to each other. And then he goes back to his cave and plays video games or something, right?
Just enough money to pay his internet bill so he can play some more.
I guess. And pay his parents for the rent in the basement.
Right, yeah.
So I thought that is brilliant. And I love that. So I thought about that a lot. And I thought, that's great. The other thing that I would suggest doing is, and I've done this before with great success. I figured this out in 2012, 2013. We started doing a lot more wholesaling cash deals instead of lease options in 2012, 2013, because I saw a lot of money coming back into the market. And we were doing a lot of seller marketing and was kind of spinning our wheels. And I read, Kent Clothier? Have you heard the name?
Yep.
He's got a book called Reverse Wholesaling.
Yep.
And I was friends with Kent, and I called him and I said, I'm struggling with wholesaling right now. It's for some reason. He said, well, you're trying to sell people what you have instead of what they want. You need to go find out what buyers want. It's always, always easier to sell buyers what they want instead of what you have. Okay. That's a simple concept. So he said, listen, just go into the other hot markets right now, find out who's buying deals outside of those states and send them a letter. And so I started doing that. I found 10 or 12 different hot pockets where a lot of out-of-state investors are buying in those markets. Memphis, Cleveland, Cincinnati, Mobile, Alabama, Huntsville. My mind's blanking on me, but there's like a dozen of those properties that are of those markets that have a high cash flow. rental properties, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you can go into services like PropStream or ListSource or whatever, and you can find, all right, in the last 3 months, who are all the investors from outside of those states that have bought something there in the last 30, 60 days or whatever. You can get their mail, you get their address, and you can send them a letter. And I started doing that. And again, I was smart enough to know that when I'm talking to buyers, I'm going to give them my cell phone. I want to talk to them. I don't want to make them jump through hoops and go to a website, leave their message or do whatever, send them to some stupid AI chat bot. You got to talk to them. So then I sent these letters out and I said, hey, I see that you must be an investor. You just bought this property in Memphis, Tennessee. Looks to me like you're an active real estate investor. I own this company. We're the premier real estate investing company in the St. Louis area. And if you're looking for more deals, we might be able to help you out and work with you. Give me a call. I'd love to talk with you. Didn't send them to a website, nothing. When they called, I answered my cell phone, and I had a guy who was helping me with this too at the time. And we did, 1,000 of those letters, got, 10 to 20 calls, not a bunch. And but we were talking to these guys, and we started then finding out. They were asking us questions. Well, what tell me about St. Louis? What do you got? So, well, we've got some of these deals here, but what we do is, we'll go find whatever you're looking for. And they're like, oh, okay, it's interesting, cool. So we started then. Now we knew we had $500,000 waiting to be put into deals, right? And we started putting the word out there to our network. All of the other wholesalers and the realtors and the landlords and the property managers. Hey, we were the new hedge fund in town, right? We've got $500,000 burning a hole in our pocket. We're looking for deals. We're looking for deals in these 6 zip codes. Give us what you've got. And people started bringing us deals. People started, even realtors that were happy just to make $500, wholesalers that were happy just to be able to make $1,000 so they can get out of their contract and not be embarrassed or whatever. And so they started bringing us deals, and pretty soon we had more seller leads than we could handle without doing any seller marketing, because we went and found the buyers who had the money and started spreading the word. It's called the flap your lips method. You just start talking to people and you get people to say, yeah, I got a deal. And you say, well, oh, cool. Tell me about it. And then we would send it to our other buyer and say, would this be of any interest to you? And at the time, we were doing that with assignments agreements. Later, one of us got a real estate license, and we did it as a realtor. But you could do it where you close on the deal and then you turn around and sell the deal. There's other ways you could do it without a license. But anyway, we started doing a lot of deals just by being the connector. And then this is the final thing I'll say to it. These buyers started telling us, you know why we buy so many deals from you? You're the only ones who answer your phones.
Secret
We're
power
the only
right there.
ones.
Yep.
Yeah, we're the only ones who answer the phones. They just wanted somebody that they could call that knew that we would answer the phones and talk to them and answer their questions. We didn't do anything to the properties. We didn't fix anything up. We said, here are 3 property managers that you should talk to. Here are 3 hard money lenders. Here's 3 banks. Here's 3 contractors. We just gave them all right, here's some resources. You should call them and vet them for yourself. That's all we did. But they knew that we had somebody that had boots on the ground, that if we could help them in any way that we could. Does that make sense?
Makes perfect sense. Man, there's a lot to unpack there. First thing, I just got to reiterate. I tell people that my superpower is answering my phone, and that's why I don't like to have a full schedule. I don't like to have my calendar super booked up, because if you've put in the effort and the work to make your phone ring and you answer it, opportunities come together. If you don't answer your phone, which a lot of people just don't do, you miss your opportunities. And I tell some of my students, I say, rule number 1 to real estate investing, answer your phone. Because it's literally that simple. Like, you need to answer your phone.
Geez, here's the thing. If you are not on the phone, you are not making money.
Nope. It's a people business. If you're not talking to anybody, you're not making money.
You want to know a simple rule to make money in this business? Talk to 5 people a day.
Yeah.
If you could just talk to 5 people a day, that's 25 people a week, 100 people a month, you will do deals.
You'll do deals. No question.
Guaranteed.
What I love about what you said about the no money is it's probably one of the most underutilized skill sets and strategies that is used in the business. And with my students, it's the very first thing I teach is networking. It is so
like to hear
important. And because people are looking for the silver bullet, people are wanting the magic new strategy to learn how to find these motivated sellers and get the best deals. The secret is go talk to people. You already said that already. Like, go network with the people that are around deals, realtors, wholesalers, buyers, right? People neglect talking and networking with buyers out the gate. That's the second thing I teach them to do is go network with buyers, because they're going to be telling you what they're looking for. Just like you said, they're also going to be around deals. They might come to you with a deal and say, hey, can you help me out with this? And if you just are talking to the people that are around deals, you're going to add more deals to your business. You can actually do this business without spending money on marketing. Now I'm biased. I listened to Sean Terry. That's how I got started. And he told me something I can never unlearn and unforget, which is you can spend money to make your phone ring. And the quicker you can do that, the quicker you can scale. And I have not let go of that. I love making my phone ring. So,
well, there is a place for that, right? But when you're just getting started, one of the guys who helps me coach, his name is Gavin Timms, great guy. He got started from England, living in Phoenix, one of the most competitive markets in the country, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, people don't do many bandit signs anymore, but you can't walk down the street without tripping over bandit signs.
Yeah.
That's kind of the joke in Phoenix, right? Well, anyway, he spent his last $5,000 maybe on direct mail, 0 leads. And this was back when it wasn't even quote unquote competitive. Mm-hmm. But anyway, he's like, what do I do now? He got a little discouraged, but he didn't let it stop him. He talked to his coach. He had a coach and said, you need to get on the phone and start talking to people and networking, go out and network. So he went to the next real estate investment club. He felt completely out of place. It was in the summer. He was wearing a suit and tie at REIA. REIA stands for Real Estate Investors Association. Yeah. And he went and he was completely out of place. But when it came time for people to stand up, like, do you have a deal? Are you looking for a deal? What are those things? He said, listen, I am new to the business. And if you have any old leads and you would like somebody to follow up with your old leads, I'd see me afterwards, and I'm good on the phone and I can talk to people. So about 2 or 3 people came up to him and said, yeah, I've got some old leads. And so he said, well, I can call them for you. I can follow up with your old leads for you, and we'll just split the deal, 50-50 or something. Would that be all right? And so one lady gave him, I don't remember, 40 or 50 old leads. And some of these leads were over 2 years old, right? He got on the phone, his cell phone, and just started calling every single one of them. Well, then he was concerned about the contracts. How does the paperwork work? I don't have the money to buy these deals. How does these assignments or double closings work? Do you have title companies? He's like, if you can just help me with the paperwork, and I don't even know how to make an offer. I don't know how to estimate repairs. And the person who had the experience with these old leads said, yeah, I'll help you with that. And so that person taught Gavin how to make quick offers and how to do rough estimates for repairs. And basically, I think the formula was real simple. It was like, take whatever Zillow says it's worth times 60%. It was something real simple like that. And so he started calling everybody, all these old leads that were marked as dead. They weren't like marked as follow-up or cold. They were marked as dead. He started calling all of them. And within 30 calls, he got about 3 contracts, 3 deals under contract. And his split was only $3,000 on each of them. And so he made $9,000 pretty much after, in his first month just calling old leads. So the other thing you could do is find other wholesalers, other investors with dead leads and offer to follow up with their dead leads. That's everybody sitting on a gold mine.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not talking about putting them into a triple dialer, hiring VAs in the Philippines to cold call them. No, just call them with your iPhone.
You call them, yeah. No, I love that. Those are those are strategies that are so easy to implement and can do with no money, just putting in your time. So I love that. That's great. So next thing here I want to get into is how to get vacant land that cash flows passive income with no debt. I know you got your dirt flipping shirt there. You're going bananas on dirt, flipping dirt, finding vacant land. How can people find it, and how can they make it cash flow?
I'll tell you how I got started into vacant land first, because I was doing houses. I wanted my boys to do deals with me. And my teenagers at the time, I have 4 kids. They're now 20 and 18. My girls are 15 and 12. And so I thought, I want my boys to help me do deals. And, but I just didn't either have the time. They're smart kids, but I didn't have the time, and I didn't feel like they had the maturity level, and I didn't have the time to train them. How do you talk to sellers? How do you understanding ARV, repairs, negotiate with a seller who's been living in that house for 20 years or who's just put $200,000 into it, and whatever, like a tired, frustrated landlord. I thought, how can I, because I understand the importance of talking on the phone. And so I was friends with a couple people that started flipping vacant land. Jack Bosch, I learned a lot from him. He's a beast, good friend of mine. I highly recommend his programs. And so I started like listening to podcasts. There's a bunch of other podcasts out there on how to flip vacant land. Started thinking about it, started getting some interest, because what they do is they send, 1,000 offers and 1 out of 1,000 gets accepted or something. So I became interested in that. And then I went to a boot camp, and I started talking to one of the students at the boot camp who was doing deals. And I learned more from him than I did the actual boot camp. And I started talking to him, and he's like, yeah, it's real simple. What all I do is I send about 500 to 1,000 postcards a week. The postcard says, hey, call our 24-hour recorded voicemail if you want an offer for your vacant lot. And there's a reference ID number on that postcard. And then it says, they call that voicemail. The voicemail says, hey, thanks for calling. Leave your name and number and the reference ID at the sound of the tone, and we'll send you an offer in a few days. So they leave their voicemail, reference ID, and then once, a couple times a week, he goes through all his voicemails and looks up the property and comes up with an offer and sends the offer to the seller before even calling them. Sends the offer to the seller, and then sets himself a reminder to send him a ringless voicemail a couple weeks later if he hasn't heard back from them yet. And then 30 days later, if he hasn't heard back from them, he sends the same offer again. So every 2 weeks, he's following up with them, either a voicemail or sending the same offer until he hears back from them. And that's all he does. And then he doesn't talk to them until after they get his offer. And I thought, that's crazy. That's interesting. I said, does it really work? He said, yeah, it works. And I said, oh, so let me try it. And so I did. I'm a big FreedomSoft user. I love FreedomSoft. So I set all this up inside of FreedomSoft, and I started doing it. And I started having my sons help me do this. And it's a numbers game. And I found the areas where there's a lot of demand, where there's a lot of people buying vacant land. And then I pulled a list of vacant landowners who have owned that land in that county for over 10 years, who don't live in that county. And I started sending them postcards, cheap little 50-cent postcards. Hey, if you want to sell your vacant lot, your 2.6 acre, your 0.26 acre vacant lot in this area, call me. I'll make you a cash offer. Just call our 24-hour recorded voicemail and leave the reference ID on the voicemail. So, at the time we were getting 2-3% response rates. Now it's a little less. But we'd get a bunch of calls. My sons would listen to the voicemails. They would then pull up the property on Zillow and Redfin and look at comps. We would look to see what similar quarter acre lots were selling for, what they have sold for. and we'd figure that we could sell it for, let's just say $10,000. And so then we would send an offer at 25 to 35 cents on the dollar. Mm-hmm. And one out of every 25 to 30 offers responded positively and accepted our offer. And then we started doing, with FreedomSoft, we started doing the automated follow-up. You know, every 2 weeks, we'd send them a text, an email, a voicemail, and then every 30 days, we'd send them another offer. We just keep on following up with them. And on average, we were doing one out of every 25 offers would turn into a deal, and we would make 5 to 10 grand in profits on average. And so I thought, this is really stinking good. And I liked it because here we go. We just talked about the importance of talking to sellers and using your phone, and, you know, but I wanted something that my boys could do with me where they didn't have to talk to sellers. And with vacant land, there's just not much competition. There's not as many other wholesalers doing it. These sellers are much more detached from their vacant land than they are from their houses. They've never lived on the land. They've owned it for over 10 years. They've maybe never been to it, but once or twice. And they're like, I just want to get rid of it. And that way you can now buy these vacant lots at much bigger discounts, because we're buying them at 25 to 35 cents on the dollar. And since we're only in areas where there's a big demand for vacant land, we can sell them really quickly. And now we're using realtors more to sell our deals, which is a game changer, because when we get a deal under contract, a vacant land under contract, we then just call realtors who have sold land in that area recently, and we pay super generous commissions, double what they would normally get on land deals. And so we get a lot of interest from realtors. They already know the buyers. They know the areas. They're our boots on the ground. And so we sell the deals with them. Probably 85% of our deals we sell for quick cash. 15, 20% of them we sell on owner financing. And so we sell them on 5-year notes at 10% interest. And so on average, you know, we'll get our average, I think, is $308 a month in cash flow on our notes. So we're getting $308 a month. We typically get our money back in a year and a half. And just the returns are phenomenal, better than anything you could get with houses, and without any of the management tenant headaches and hassles. And so there's just so many things I like about it. And, you know, there's a lot of people out there who maybe English is a second language. They don't want to talk to sellers. They know, they agree with everything we just said. Like, you got to get on the phone, but they don't want to do it. They have a full-time job. Mm-hmm. They don't get home till 7 o'clock at night. They leave at 6 a.m. in the morning. They've got kids. They just want something that's more automated, where you only talk to the people after they get your offer. And so we started doing a bunch of land deals, and I started teaching people how to do land deals. And it's been a wild ride. It's been a lot of fun.
That's pretty crazy. That's a pretty clever system there. And I can see how that works. So I guess the part people would probably struggle with is, I find this, who would actually want to buy this piece of land now? Sounds like you got part of that figured out with knowing how to locate buyers that are buying land, and also working with the seller, the agents as well.
Well, we just go to Zillow and we say, all right, can I share my screen? Can I show you something?
You can, yeah.
All right, let me close all my bad sites. I'm just kidding. That's a bad joke. My wife would hate me telling that joke. It's a stupid joke. No one thinks it's funny. All right, let's just go to Zillow and let's do a search for Florida. All right, let's go to sold. Let's do home type, just land. Let's go to more sold in the last 90 days. All right, before I show this, take a guess at how many vacant lots have sold in Florida in the last 90 days.
Well, the map of land is, pretty good amount on there, but past 90 days?
In the last 90 days.
In the last 90 days, let's guess 20.
15,000
What?
vacant lots have sold in the last 90 days in Florida.
What?
It's crazy. It's a lot of land. And so if you just look at Florida, for example, you can zoom in to see these pockets of
That's insane.
yellow dots.
15,000.
Well, that's a lot. There's not as many as a number of houses. But look, there's a lot of activity going on here. You know, let's zoom into this area. What's going on here in this area? I don't know. That zip code it's Citrus Springs, Florida. What county is that? Let's check it out. Citrus Springs, Florida County. Citrus County. All right. So let's look at Citrus County, Florida. 754 vacant lots have sold in the last 90 days in Citrus County, Florida.
Wow.
Well, you know, another hot county in Florida is, Charlotte County is another hot county. Charlotte County, Florida. 1,526.
What's
this other county right here? I forget. This county right here, Lehigh Acres. Look at all those dots there. I forget what county this is, but if I just drew in this area right here, how many vacant lots have sold there in the last 90 days? Last 3 months. 1,900.
Oh my Lord.
Vacant lots sold there. Guess what? I can go pull a list of vacant landowners, people who own vacant land there for over 10 years, over 5 years, send them a letter, send them an offer. Now, these are very competitive areas. I'm not saying you should go into these markets in Florida, but I've done lots of deals in Florida. You know, North Carolina is another great state. North Carolina, 7,600 vacant lots sold in the last 90 days. Let's look at South Carolina. Let me remove North Carolina. South Carolina has 2,500 sold in there. And so there's other tools that you can use where basically I just want to follow the money. I want to follow. Success leaves clues. And I want to follow the money. Where are these people buying properties? Brunswick County this is crazy. Brunswick. Have you ever heard of Brunswick County?
I feel like I've heard of it.
It's right there near Wilmington. They've sold 771 vacant lots in the last 90 days in that counny, according to Zillow.
Wow. A lot of it's right close to the water, too.
Yeah, it's just a great area. I don't know anything about it, but, you know, it's this county here in South Carolina is also happening a lot of cool things.
This would be helpful for listeners. From your experience, what type of land is better to go after? The desirable areas or just the super entry level in a neighborhood, low price point?
So there's different kinds of property. There's infill lots, maybe, and recreational lots. We're generally avoiding the big agricultural land. We're avoiding, I don't actually, the best answer is I don't care. I'm going after it all, right? Like, I'm just going to pull a list of all the vacant landowners in Brunswick County, North Carolina that own vacant land. And some of these that have sold recently, you can see this is like 0.1 acre. This is 0.36 acres, 0.4, 0.4. Some of these are infill lots. Some of them are in subdivisions. Some of them are going to be recreational land. When I first got started, we only did recreational land. Like, some of this is going to be really expensive because it's on the ocean. But here's a 0.44 acre that sold for $12,000. I used to only go after recreational land where you could camp or hunt or put a tiny house, and those lots are easier to sell because they're unrestricted. They don't have HOAs or rules and things like that.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, it's like, if you really were to pull a list of all the vacant land that's sold in North Carolina or Florida or Georgia or California, what lots have sold? There's these cheap lots. Let me go here and I sort this by low to high. There's a lot of these cheap lots that are selling. and you can buy these things for $100 and sell them for $4,000. Some of these cheapest ones are the ones that investors are buying, but like we're buying these things for $2,000, selling them for $10,000, $5,000, selling them for, let me go to page 4, selling them for $22,000. Some of them are in HOAs, subdivisions. Some of them aren't. It just kind of doesn't matter. I know if I have a vacant lot in Brunswick County, there's going to be a demand. And guess what? There's going to be realtors that sell land here. So if I have a property, let's say in this area, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to call all these agents. I'm going to use these are my comps. And I'm going to call all these agents once I get it under contract and ask them if they have a buyer. And I'm going to tell them I pay 8% commissions. All they need to do is make some texts and some phone calls, and they can bring me a buyer, and I'll pay them 8% commissions. And I just put that into my. So I'm going to look at this and just quick numbers. I'm going to say, all right, well, I got a 1/4 acre lot here. I got a 1 acre lot, and I'm going to sell it for. I want to sell it aggressively, so I'm going to sell my 1 acre lot for $100,000. So I subtract $8,000 for commissions. I subtract $15,000 profit. I subtract $2,000 for closing costs. I subtract maybe $500 for photographer, and I subtract from borrowing private money or using private money. I'll subtract that money costs, the cost of whatever, and I subtract my costs, and I make an offer. Sometimes it's like 35 cents on the dollar. Sometimes it's at 50 cents on the dollar. Sometimes it's maybe 60, 70 cents. But now here's the thing I didn't even talk about yet. When first of all, too, when I figure out a price, I also want to look at the actives. I want to see what is my competition. And so if I have a property that I'm trying to sell for $50,000 and there's a bunch of these that are $15,000, you might need to do more filters here. Let's say my minimum acreage size is 1/2 acre to 2 acres. All right, so if I'm trying to sell my 1/2 acre for $50,000, why would somebody want to buy mine for 50 when they can buy this one for 12 and 20 and 25, Mm-hmm. So you also have to, you look at solds and you look at actives, you come up with a price of what I would sell mine for. Then I call realtors. But here's the thing. It's harder to comp vacant land than it is for houses because there's just not as many of it. And the land varies so widely. But I give myself 3 months to close. We don't do any earnest money deposits on our contracts. And we have 3 months to close. And we can extend it another 30 days if we want. And we can cancel our agreement for any reason that we want. So my contracts are very investor friendly. And so sometimes, we're a month into it and we know, this isn't going to be a deal. We can't buy it because the price isn't right. Mm-hmm. So we go back to the seller, we renegotiate or we cancel the agreement.
Mm-hmm. That's cool, man. Yeah, no, once you dive into it, it starts to make sense of how to actually do it. So it was helpful to definitely look at it.
Cool.
Heck yeah, man. Well, thanks for going through that. I know that's going to get a bunch of people excited. They're going to want to find out more from you. So I love this topic here, how to create systems and hire people to do everything for you in spite of you. So
did I give you these questions?
You did. Yeah, you did a great job.
Each of those could be their own podcast.
I know.
So how do I find, hire, train? Okay, so
the 10,000 foot view, because like you said, we could literally spend a whole podcast on it. But
yeah, I did some. We homeschool our kids, and I wanted to go. My wife and I had been to Prague a couple times when we first got married. We lived there for 5 months and had a blast. So we thought, let's take the kids. why don't we, I can work from anywhere. I just need a laptop. Let's take them to Prague and we can homeschool them there. And we just live there, rent an Airbnb and go see Europe and stuff like that. So we did that. I did deals from there. It was amazing. It was awesome. We came back the next year. We did a 3-month RV trip. And this was at the time too, when I was doing more traditional, regular wholesaling. And, I was kind of getting overwhelmed because I had an acquisitions manager. I had a dispositions manager. I had an assistant. I had all this overhead and I was doing a lot of deals, but I wasn't making that much money. I was getting frustrated with it. I was spending a lot of money on marketing. And I thought the answer was to build a big team and that would be my key to freedom. And I'd be making a lot of money. But I was making more money, but I wasn't keeping more money. Right. And I was working way too much. So I said to myself, is there any way, I made a list of everything that you do in a wholesaling deal or in a wholesaling business. I made a list of everything and I asked myself this question: how can I do none of this? And it really forced me to start thinking about, all right, well, maybe I could have my assistant take care of that. I could hire a virtual assistant to do that. Why don't I partner with other wholesalers? And so instead of hiring an acquisitions manager or dispositions manager, what if my VA, my local assistant does the marketing, my VA pre-screens the leads, and then we take the pre-screened leads, give them to a local wholesaler who works the lead, and then they do the work of closing it, finding the buyer, all of that stuff. And then we just split the deal 50-50. So I started with that whole thing of how could I do none of this? And so when we were taking our RV trip for 3 months through the northwest corner of the US, I was working a couple, 3 hours a day, but I was doing more deals, making more money doing it that model. I called it automated wholesaling and I created a program about it. And then we went back to Europe again for 3 months. And I just started doing these deals with getting other people to do the stuff. Now I wasn't making, you might think, well, you're giving too much money away. Well, I was making half of the profit, right? But I was making half the pie, but the pie was a bigger pie and I had more of them and I could flip them faster. So I started doing deals in about 4 different markets. I would find the wholesaler first and then go into their market. Mm-hmm. So somebody that I knew, trusted. And this is a friend of mine, somebody that I knew was doing deals. I said, hey, what if I paid for the marketing and I installed my systems in place and I bring you leads, you work the leads, and we split the profits net 50-50. And so I would get reimbursed my marketing costs. He would get reimbursed his costs that he had for, the money in the deal, closing costs, hard money or private money, whatever he had, right? So we'd both get reimbursed our expenses and then split any net profit after that 50-50. And I was averaging 5-6 deals a month in a total of 4 different markets, doing that for the longest time. And so that is kind of how you do it. The idea is looking at everything you've got to do in a business to do a deal and just ask yourself a simple question. All right, this is great. How can I do none of this?
So how did that work out? I mean, you were on the family trip. How long did you continue doing that model after the 3-month road trip?
We continued doing it. Because I was like, this is great. And when I got back into St. Louis, we just kept on doing that. That also at the time, my education business really started growing. And I found that I really liked doing the podcast and videos and teaching. So I really started focusing my time and energy on the education side of the business. But, for the last 7, 8, 9 years, I don't think I've not done a deal where I did 100% of it all on my own with my own team. I always partnered with people. I've partnered, I find a lead, I find somebody who's doing deals already that I know in that market, or I find somebody who's doing deals in that market, and I partner with them on the deal. Somebody brings me a deal, and I partner with them in terms of maybe lending the money, or maybe hey, I don't want to be involved, but I know somebody else, and so I'm partnering kind of in the middle, putting these two guys together, and get a little cut out of that sometimes. Sometimes not. I'm just like, here, you guys talk and just work it out. So I believe I don't believe in in competition. It's all about collaboration. And so I partner with people all the time on deals. Now, has anybody ever gone around my back, and taken one of the leads that I gave them and did a deal without me noticing it? Maybe, but here's the deal. If they did that, and if I found out, well, obviously that would be the end of our relationship, right? And I'm the goose laying the golden egg. I'm the guy paying the money, doing the marketing, doing the pre-screening, and building the systems, maintaining the leads, doing the follow-up. Why would they ever want to stop that, right? Yeah. These are wholesalers. They just want to be in their truck, talking to sellers, looking at deals. They hate the paperwork and all of that. Yep. So when you can approach them and say, hey, listen, I'll do all the paperwork. All you got to do is do a Voxer or a WhatsApp or something. Send a voice message after every seller you talk to my VA. She'll update the CRM. We'll do the follow-up. We'll send the offers. My VAs will just be your assistants, okay? All I want you to do is work the leads that we give you. When we give you a pre-screened lead and the seller says, yeah, I want to sell my property, we want you to call them back right away. We want you to schedule an appointment and go meet with them in person and make an offer on their house. And if they're not ready now, that's fine. Let us know. We'll follow up and we'll let them know, we'll let you know whenever. So I kind of gave them my systems, my team, the processes and stuff like that, which allowed that wholesaler, my boots on the ground, to do what they were really good at, what they wanted to do. A couple times, my wholesalers that I worked with are like, this is great. I don't need you anymore. I can just do this on my own. Like, okay, fine. Every time, 3-4 months later, they call me back. Hey, can we do that again? I don't like doing all of that stuff you were doing before. So that's kind of how I approach it. And we kind of did it on a deal by deal basis. It was we didn't form a new company. Mm-hmm. We just did joint venture agreements on every deal. And it got to a point too where, my relationship was so good with them, and it was all open book. I knew who the buyers were. I saw the contracts. I saw the closing documents. It was all open book. And we had the same CRM. He was keeping his notes. We were putting notes into the same CRM. It was all open book. But it got to a point where it was just like, he would tell us what the numbers were. The title company would say, hey, we're just going to give you 2 checks. We're going to cut a check to you and a check to you. Send us an invoice. So we would send the title company an invoice for whatever our half of the profit was. And the title company would send 2 checks, one to the wholesaler local guy and one to me. It's kind of how we did it.
Yeah. Collaboration over competition. I love that. It's something that we, myself and others in my market, we preach all the time, because the scarcity mindset will tell you, well, if I give up any of my pie, right, I'm going to have less pie. I'm going to be hungry. But if you realize that the pie is bigger, when you open up yourself to more opportunities of working with more people, you realize that you're actually gonna eat more, right? You're gonna eat more of a bigger. You're gonna eat maybe a little bit smaller piece of a bigger pie, but it ends up being more, right? Especially over time. And there's enough deals for everybody. So that whole abundance mindset, collaboration over competition, will take you a long way. And you're going to have more fun doing it too, because if you're just doing it in a silo by yourself, it gets pretty lonely. But the more you can work with other good people, it just helps make the whole experience better. So would you say that's kind of how you created a lifestyle real estate business, is by using that model?
Yeah. Like I was in a coaching program at the time called Life and Air. And instead of millionaire, it's about being a life and air. And one of the things they talked about was creating a vision for your life first, and then building a business around that. Most of us have our business in the center of our life. And then then life revolves around the business. Well, we need to reverse it. So for me, I created a vision for my life. I want to work from home. I want a simple business, low overhead. I don't want a bunch of staff. I want high profitability. I want to be able to do deals from anywhere in the world. I've done deals from a cafe in Prague, a chateau in France, my backyard, Starbucks. I've done deals from anywhere and everywhere. That was part of my vision. I wanted high profitable deals, low overhead. I wanted something that would benefit people and help the community, and something that's simple, easy to duplicate and all that. So, and I wanted to be able to spend time with my family. I wanted to work from home because, the coffee's better at home. The bathrooms are cleaner at home. And we want to homeschool our kids, and we want to, instead of teaching them about ancient Greek, Roman history, let's take them to Athens. Let's take them to Rome. Instead of making them go through, I won't get political or religious, but instead of making them go to some public school learning biology and evolution, let's take them to the natural. Let's take them to national parks, and go walk through Glacier National Park for a couple weeks, right? And do all of the programs that they have at those parks. And let's teach them real science. Let's teach them real history so that they can touch it and feel it. Mm-hmm. We spent so much time on the coast, in the mountains, in the desert. Like, it was such an epic trip. And they've seen the world. My kids have been to like 15 or 16 countries, maybe even more. I need to count it again. But yeah, so, it's not for everybody. I get it. That's just what we wanted to do. So designed a vision for my life, what I wanted it to look like first, and then built a business around that, which makes you start asking bigger questions. Like, okay, well, if I'm going to homeschool my kids, not that we're anti-public school, but we're just so pro-homeschool because of the freedom it gives us. We can go on vacation whenever we want. We can go spend a month in Florida if we want, or go to Europe if we want. How are we going to do that? Well, I need to be able to build a business that I can work from my laptop so I can take it with me wherever I go. I don't want an office. I don't want overhead. I don't want a bunch of staff and the stress and the pressure that comes with. Some people can handle that. I'm not one of those guys, because, my family comes first. I don't want a bunch of employees that I have to worry about and feed, right? I have 3 full-time employees, a couple contractors, 4 virtual assistants. They're all amazing. I love my team. They do a great job. And I pay them very, very well, I think. But I don't want a big bloated team with all this overhead, because that stresses me out. And so anyway, that's the secret to it, I think. What kind of business do you want? Maybe you do want your own office, and you want a corner office, and you want staff, and you want to hire managers, and you're into leadership and all that stuff. God bless you. Go for it. But that's not me. Yeah.
No, I'm in the same boat as you. We align a lot on our mindset and the way we view things. I want to have the option of wearing pants or no pants today. I want to have that option. I don't want to.
No shorts? Or what do you mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Just walk around in my underwear. I want to have that choice. And, I want to be able to work out when I want to. I don't want to be sitting in traffic commuting. But some people, they get fired up and they just love the energy of being in an office, and that's great. It's just not for the two of us. So focus on, I think that's a great way to start. Focus on the way you want your lifestyle to look and feel, and build a business around that. So, that's awesome. And then it's life by design. You choose your path and the outcomes that you have. So
here's the cool thing about that too, real quick.
Yeah.
You may not have to do $1 million a year to do that.
Sure.
Your lifestyle, you may only need to make $100,000 a year, $250,000 a year, right? We all think, I got to make $100,000 a month, or I want to make $1 million a year. Do you really need to? I mean, like, if you figure out this vision for your life and what that looks like, you may only need $250,000 a year to support that. Maybe it's take 4 vacations a year to the Bahamas. Maybe it's live in a $500,000 house, work 4 days a week, 30 hours a week, have all your cars paid off, no debt, and do what you love to do. And you put numbers to that. That's not a big deal. Now you work at it backwards. All right, so I only need to make $150,000, $250,000 to live my dream life. So that's how much a month, or how much business, how many deals do I need to do that? And you start working backwards and you say, oh, well, I only need one virtual assistant to do that. I might need 2 VAs. And so you can work the numbers backwards from there. Instead of trying to shoot for some arbitrary number that's floating out there that everybody tells you need to be making $1 million so you can get a stupid double comma club award or whatever, which means nothing, right? I mean, most people who get these double comma club awards, you don't hear how much money they spent to get that thing, right? It means $1 million in revenue. It doesn't mean $1 million in profits, which is much, much different.
Very different. Well, dude, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on. So many nuggets. So much goodies for everybody that's listening. I know we really got into some good details there. So how can people find you? If people want to find out more about flipping dirt, if people want to connect with you in any sort of way to maybe be a deal partner with you or anything like that, what's the best place for people to connect with you?
Yeah, I just put this up here. And I'm going to share my screen. I didn't plan this too well. Here you go. Boom. Okay. So, how's that? Is that fancy or what?
That's about the fanciest thing I've ever seen.
That's incredible. SimpleLandKit.com or JoeMcCall.com. I put together this kit for land flippers. It comes with my direct mail swipe file. It comes with my contracts, my scripts for sellers, my how I choose the best markets. And I have a software that helps you calculate the offers, what the land is worth and what you should offer for it. It's all free. It's simplelandkit.com. So you can get it. You put your name and email in there. We will email it to you. And then there's a class that you'll get an invite to where I teach you how to do all of that stuff and use it. So you watch this little webinar that I have. I do have a program. It's called Simple Land Flips. We refund everybody's money who completes the program, Dean.
Yeah, it's the craziest thing I ever heard. It makes me scratch my head.
We have refunded to date $510,000 in course completion challenge refunds. So basically, if you complete the program, set up your business like I show you how to do, make at least 25 offers in 6 months, I will refund your money, whether you do a deal or not. And the reason why I do that is it's a great way to give back. I had so many people not even open my program. I had so many people didn't even go through the first 2 or 3 modules. I was like, how can I get them to go through my course? Because I know if they implement it, they'll start having success and they'll start doing deals. So I thought, let's create a challenge. You just go through the program and implement it, and I'll give you your money back. And the reason why, again, I do that is because it's a way for me to invest back into my students. And I know if they're happy, they're going to be fans and customers for life. So they might buy something else that I sell in the future, or maybe they'll bring me deals. They'll bring me deals. I'll partner with them on deals or lend them money on deals, or I get a great testimonial from them. So, everybody wins. I love doing it. Nobody else is doing it. And it's a lot of fun. My goal is to refund over $1 million in course completion challenge refunds.
That's crazy.
And I build goodwill. It's like, you reap what you sow. I want to be generous. And then joemccall.com is my main site. You can kind of see what I do there. And I have a podcast and YouTube, all that good stuff.
Amazing. Yeah, you're always dropping lots of education, lots of information. So guys, if you want to connect with Joe, several different ways to do it here. If you want to learn different investment strategies from Joe, he's got all sorts of different ways he can help you. So just an absolute resource, wealth of knowledge. Dude, honestly, super honored to have you on here. It's been an absolute pleasure. Tons of value and appreciate it. Any famous last words?
Dean. I'm going to have you on my show.
Let's do it
in a week or so, right?
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
Be good.
Yeah, I'll have my podcast is called Real Estate Investing Mastery. I've been doing it for 12 years now. And I don't remember how many episodes, a couple thousand, maybe.
Just a couple.
Yeah, I've enjoyed doing it. I've been doing it for a long time. I thought I missed the podcasting boat.
I keep hearing this story from several different people.
It's crazy. That was in 2011.
And it keeps getting more popular. Podcasts keep getting more popular.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
And so I've been really focusing on YouTube more also. YouTube's a beast. Hard trying to crack that nut. But yeah, I love helping people. So yeah, if anybody wants more information, simplelandkit.com or go to my website, joemccall.com, or just look me up on YouTube, look me up on podcasts, whatever you listen to podcasts, do a search for Joe McCall. You'll find my show, Real Estate Investing Mastery, and you'll be on there soon.
There we go.
Looking forward to talking to you.
Can't wait, man. Awesome. Well, Joe, thanks for being on, man. Until next time, guys. Peace.
Thank you, Dean.